What's happening, everybody? It's your resident supervillain, Mr. J. Washington, here with my official review for Pixar's Incredibles 2. Now, before I go any further, first and foremost, let me apologize for the delay. A lot of things have been happening. A lot of changes have been happening. Some may be considered bad, but a lot of may be on the up and up. So I'll let you guys know in a little bit about some of those changes. But also, allow me to inform you all that there will be spoilers in this, okay? There will be spoilers. So if you do not want to hear that, I advise you to just pause the video now, go check out Incredibles 2, come right back, and I'll have everything for you, okay? Because this movie is so much, I don't want to go full in depth without, having to say some things. Because it's hard when you have a movie that is so prominent such as this, and you're not able to fully go into it the way you want. So I don't want to cheat anybody. So, it's going to be spoiled. First and foremost, before you see the movie Incredibles, the actual movie, you are treated to an amazing short animation film called Bow. I didn't know what to expect when I saw this. It is hilarious and very, very heartwarming. Make sure you get there early so you can catch Bow. Of course, when I saw it, I didn't get a chance to see any trailers or whatnot, but Bow is an amazing short film that you need to watch. It is so beautifully done. The story touches you in such a way. I don't want to spoil that at all for you guys, but check out Bow. So let's get into The Incredibles 2. First of all, this movie, top to bottom, is a solid film overall. It picks up like right exactly where the end of The Incredibles 1, stopped. And that was 14 years ago. You know what I'm saying? I saw a lot of people at the screening I went to go view that had brought their younger kids. And it was so interesting to me, the mix of it, because on one hand, you want them to see this great family action superhero film. But on the other, they weren't bored when the first one was around. They may have just recently caught the reruns or may have been introduced to the DVD or stuff like that. But I think it is fun for everybody. I know the people, older generations, were highly into it. I know I was. Like I said, it picks right off with the Underminer, John Ratzenberger's character coming right in and still doing the same thing. But actually, before we see that, we see a young boy named Tony Ridinger. Tony is being questioned by an agent, and he's talking about what he saw during that event of the Underminer. But he's also talking about how he saw Violet Parr put her mask on. Now, Tony is the boy in the first one who was asking Violet on a date at the track meet where Jack was about trying to beat everybody by the speed of light, and the family was like, slow down, slow down. You see Tony being questioned, and when you see Tony being questioned, it goes into the whole event of what happened with the Underminer. Now, afterwards, after a lot of destruction, of course, and a lot of the family getting together and doing some amazing things to stop him, you see Fro-Zone trying to run away and being approached by a man in a limousine. Now, Fro-Zone's like, yo, I don't want to be here. Fro-Zone being voiced, of course, by the great Samuel L. Jackson. Like, yo, I don't want to be a part of this. I got to go. And dude's like, hey, here's somebody that wants to talk to you about what you do. And goes to find out, it's a car that gets him interested. Now we go further where supers are still outlawed. The Parr family is taken into custody by the police, and they're given a slap on the wrist for what they do. And they're escorted back to a motel because, as you remember in the first one, thanks to Syndrome, their house was destroyed. The whole thing becomes of how are they going to get their lives together, what are they going to do for money, how are they going to take care of the family, support them, because they can't be superheroes, so they don't know how to support the kids. And the kids want to be superheroes, and they aren't allowed to. Dash, who is voiced by Huck Milner, is amazing. He talks about how I want to be a superhero. It's what makes me me. He's a little boy growing up, and you have all those little boy quips. Violet is still coming into her own as a teenager, as a young woman. Jack is amazing because we found out Jack had powers in the first one, but we didn't know the extent. And of course, you see it in many teaser trailers what Jack can do. You don't get everything. Jack is phenomenal in this. The introduction of the villains. The villains are Evelyn Dever and Win Dever, which I just recently had caught out that Evelyn Dever, Evil Endeavor, Win Endeavor. I didn't catch that at first. I was like, oh, yeah. I know, right? You just caught it too? It's sad. Voiced by Kathleen Keener and Bob Odenkirk were amazing. You looked at them when you first saw them, you're like, yo, these are the villains. Somehow, some way, someone's going to play off, okay? Great roles. Great portrayals. I never thought originally, though, I will say this for me, I never thought Captain Keena's character of Evelyn Dever was going to be a villain. The way they portrayed her was that she may have had a crush on Elasti-Girl, which, by the way, Holly Hunter does an amazing job, and the animation sequence they do with her on the Elasti-Cycle is one of the greatest animation sequences I've ever seen in a animated film ever. The detail, the graphics, everything is just beautifully shot. The motion, everything, nothing stops for a moment. Everything keeps going. Now, here's an issue I have. I have to get this issue off my chest. Many of you all may not have caught it, but many people who are people of color, that's black, brown, and so on, caught it when we were watching the film. It tries to spin the whole oppression on its head. It tries to do the we're being hindered. Now, hear me out. Just hear me out, okay? The only black people you see in this film are Fro-Zone, which we know he's there. You hear Fro-Zone's wife, who is a nagging black woman. You see a black man open a limousine door who looks for some reason like Barack Obama. I am not making this up. And then there's another black hero who is pretty damn dumb. His name's the Crusher with a K. And it's really hard. It spins it where it's the white heroes in trouble and in danger, and in a sense it's look through the eyes of Elasti-Girl, look through the eyes of Mr. Incredible. The problem I have is this movie as a whole is generated towards kids. It's animation. I know a lot of adults love the animation film. I'm not discrediting that. But if you are a person of color, a child of color, there's nothing in this for you. If you are a Caucasian child, you can see yourself as Jack Jack. You can see yourself as Dash. You can see yourself as Violet. You're going to focus on those. Because you can be a superhero when you grow up. Even all the other ones they show you. Fro-Zone is the epitome of the cool, I'm the cool brother. I'm Fro-Zone. And yes, I felt this way with the original. I did. I felt this way back in 2004. So let's not say, oh, you're just feeling like this now, Jay. No, I felt like this in 2004. I also felt about the fact his wife, we didn't see, but all she was a nagging black woman. And I know some people will try to do the whole, how do you know she was black? That is a question just trying to defer from the fact that you know that voice is the stereotype of a nagging black woman. It is annoying to me because you being Disney Pixar, you saying you want this level of diversity and inclusiveness and you don't want to ostracize, you could have had better people in that writer's room tell you, maybe we could tweak this. Now, I understand they've already established that Fro-Zone was this way. I understand they already established that Fro-Zone's wife was this way. But you could have brought in new characters that were similar to a Mr. Incredible, to an Elasti-Girl, to a Dinah guy, and all these other people we've seen back and forth. I just think that the idea of what, little kids like to watch these movies and envision themselves as the character. I want to be able to have my daughter, who is 4, envision more of a character. I don't want her having to be just Violet. I would like her to see someone who looks like her who is a Violet, if that makes sense to you. We want, as parents, our children to see these things going forward. And it's going to be a touchy issue for a lot of people. This I know. But again, if you know me, this is what I do. I say my opinion, and I really could care less how it makes you angry and in your feelings. But because it's an opinion I feel like I need to express. Now, you can have an opinion expressed back as long as it's a great dialogue, but that's another story. I just felt that was an issue. It didn't hinder the movie at all. I will say this. It didn't change the dynamic of the film at all. I still think overall this is a great movie, but that was a major issue. Back to Jack Jack, though. Jack Jack is the star of the show. Every scene he is in, he commands it. And it sounds weird saying that a little animated baby commands every scene, but he does. There is a scene, a fight with him and a raccoon, and it is the most hilarious shit I have ever seen in my life. I never thought I would laugh that hard at an animated scene with an animated fight between a baby and a raccoon. But it is incredible because, no pun intended, because the raccoon's trying to fight back. And at the time the raccoons, he gets introduced to a new power of Jack Jack's. And he has this, what the holy fuck? That's the look he has on his face, and it is great. There's a scene where he's with Edna, because Bob, Mr. Incredible, drops Jack Jack off with Edna to get a suit made for him. And the next day he goes to pick him up. Jack is walking like Edna, talking like Edna, and acting completely like Edna. And it is just so flawless the way it's done. It just grabs you. You know what I'm saying? There were various heroes they tried to introduce, of course, through different demographics. There's Void. Void is the epitome of the she has social anxiety disorder, as well as she seems like a hipster girl. There's a Crusher. There's a German woman named Brick. There's other just obscure ones. There's a very old geriatric one, which is just terrifying in itself. But they introduced those. Again, the main bad guy becomes Ellen Dever. I was going to say Eleanor. Evelyn Dever. You gotta have realism in these videos, right? When you try to say names that don't go right all the time. Evelyn Dever. Evil Endeavor. I was like, oh, that's happened again. I gotta bring that back up. But let me just stop rambling and get to the point. The Incredibles 2 is a great film, okay? It leaves a lot open for a third movie, which we don't have to wait 14 years anymore. We don't. We don't have to have this long break and think, are we ever going to get this? The sequel could happen in 2-3 years and we'd be good. But now you have a chance to fix all the mistakes that a lot of people, just primarily people of color, primarily. And I know a lot of people will say people are sensitive, but it's an issue that affects us, those who have children, those who want to see ourselves reflected in these films, represented properly. That's all that is. Those things can be fixed and corrected by a third one. You have an amazing cast. Just an amazing cast all the way around. Craig T. Nelson deserves all of the praise. All of it. Him as Bob Parr is just, it's just his voice. But listening to him do the character and watching the character's movements on screen, an animated character who is drawn, keep this in mind, not mocapped, is drawn. You can see Craig T. Nelson giving all the emotion, all the actions he needs to when he has to deliver lines. There are times you watch his emotions go from mediocre to highly upset to sad to just emotionally drained, and you can see a character being able to deliver that perfectly in a voice booth, and I think that's something that's underrated. Again, I might be looking at the little small details, but again, remember, these are all voice actors that have to make you not just believe. You can go off what you see on the screen and say these characters look great, but if the actors who are doing their voices aren't conveying enough emotion, you don't connect to them. And I'm starting to think that as if I had a lot of voiceover auditions, like, yo, is anybody ever connected to the character I did? Is that why I didn't get the gig? Probably so. But overall, if I have to go 1 out of 5 stars as what I will rate this, I'm going to give this about a 4 stars. 4 stars, okay? It's a great movie. Again, that issue, the social issue for me is something that doesn't give it 5. But again, it'd be a different story if I was the only one. I went to a press screening, and there were so many of us, and all the people of color came out and said, did you see the exact same thing I saw? And we weren't sitting together. We just happened to all converge and convey after the film. So that's why I bring that up, because I feel like I have to keep explaining that to a lot of people who are watching this. So I don't want you to get the wrong understanding, okay? But again, 4 out of 5 stars. It's a great film. It has a great message. The twist, the bad guy twist is kind of seen already from the beginning, unless you just want to try to think of something else, because again, I know I did. But it's solid. The animation is solid. The graphics have improved. Of course, it's 14 years later. I highly recommend you go see this film, all right? So this is what I want you to do. If you've seen The Incredibles 2, let me know what you think in the comments below. And while you're at it, like, subscribe, click on this notification bell. Share this video with those who might have an opinion that's similar or different. Let them know why you shared it, okay? Also, make sure you follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Mr. J Washington, MrJaywashington, okay? There are some podcast changes coming right now. So I normally would tell you every time, go check out the Trusty Sidekick podcast. As of right now, that's kind of on hold. I've got something new coming out, and it's pretty much the exact same format, but I'm doing a whole lot more. I'm bringing a whole lot more guests to you more consistently. I'm giving you a whole lot of extra content. I'm doing not just Marvel and DC, things like this and more. And I want you guys to be a part of it. When I have everything up, ready to go, I want you guys to be on point with it. I'm setting up all this website, social media, getting everything to go for you. So when I launch it with a full bang, all right? But I will holler at you guys later. Take care. I'm out of here. Peace.